Okay, well, I'm finally sick and fucking tired of listening to ignorant shitters talk about spread, cone of fire, bloom, dispersion, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Thread after thread after thread after thread of people who don't play FPS games, who barely play the game, who do everything mechanically poorly, whining about fucking spread. I'm so tired of it. So I'm just gonna sit here and rant about spread and shitters talking about spread and the mistakes they make, everything to do with people who come into PlanetSide, and you have to read these fucking stupid ass posts about this game has excessive cone of fire bloom. Ooh, boo-hoo. Okay. Uh, yeah. So what is spread? So often, if we're talking about PlanetSide 2, we're talking about what most people call cone of fire or bloom, or cone of fire bloom. You'll see it's COF, whatever, whatever. But basically, in every other fucking game in the history of mankind, it's called spread. Okay, so PlanetSide 2 players don't play any other fucking games. They're completely ignorant moron retards, and they just call it whatever this random fucking name that we call it. Cone of fire bloom. Okay, nobody calls it that. Anyway, but what it is it a way? The reason that spread is put into FPS games is to limit. Basically, it boils down to like one or two things. The most important part of it is to limit the effective range of the weapon you are using. So if a developer puts a weapon in a game and he wants to, he doesn't want you, say you have like some stupid like 900 rate of fire fucking gun that does like, I don't know, let's take a normal game like in the game you have 100 HP players, you have this 900 rate of fire gun that has no drop off that does 25 damage per shot, okay? So now you have this gun in the game that can potentially four shot people at 900 RPM out at every range. So, how do you want to go about balancing that? What do you want that gun to be designed for? Now, if you want that gun to be designed to be something that you use in close quarters, you want it to be more of a dueling type gun. There's a couple things that a developer can do or a weapon designer can do to uh, actually like pigeonhole that weapon into that area. You have drop off and you have spread. And you have some recoil mechanics. Spread and recoil mechanics kind of go hand in hand here when determining, what your weapon is going to be good at. But primarily, spread is used to limit the effective range of the weapon you're using. So, say we have our hypothetical gun, and you don't want that gun to be able to reach out and just shit on people, right? So let's add let's add some spread values into this that are fucking relevant, right? So now you might still have a decent hit rate out there, but you're not just going to laser McBeam people off the game, right? Because there is some level of inaccuracy, and that's intended. Now, there's ways that players get around this type of thing. Like if your cone of fire or your spread reset is 1 millisecond or something like that, like it is in PlanetSide, and you just let go of the trigger for literally 1 millisecond, and your spread and your cone is dissipated completely, and any accrued spread that you have is just gone. Uh, you can really get around whatever spread there is in the game. So, just talking about that and reminding myself of the spread reset, it actually makes me fucking angrier that the players that talk about this shit are so fucking mechanically retarded that they can't understand this very basic thing. But anyway, let's get back to why spread, why it's in the game. Like I said before, it's one of the primary tools that a weapon designer or a game designer has in really specifying what a weapon is to be used for. Now, for whatever fucking reason, and I don't understand why, I think it's just because they're lazy and shit, is that every fucking casual or every new player to this game, PlanetSide in particular, wants every gun in every single fucking game to be every single bullet, and this is with automatic weapons every fucking single type of weapon. They want every bullet that they fire from that gun to be exactly where their fucking reticle, dot, hollow, whatever, with literally no deviation from that point at all. Okay? And then in the same breath, they want to, well, you know why they want that. It's because they are so fucking stupid and lazy that they want to sit there and just press mouse one time. You know, these people, man, they have boiled down gunplay skill in FPS games to I put my reticle on the target and I'm done. That's what they want it to be because they're bad. And if there's anything else that's attached to that, whether it be movement, whether it be controlling some kind of just feathering the trigger, you know, like controlling a tiny bit of fucking burst, you know, or a tiny bit of spread, playing around that a little bit, they can't be fucking asked because they're lazy, casual dog shit. Okay, so they want every gun to be a fucking laser beam that they can just laser people across any fucking distance. They want no inaccuracy, no moving inaccuracy, no fucking, I can dump 40 to 50 fucking rounds back to back to back and have no inaccuracy whatsoever. And then they have the fucking nerve to say to you that that makes the game more skill-based. Does that make sense to anyone? That any fucking retard shitter can take a gun and just laser mag dump you with literally no skill required, no recoil control, no spread management, no nothing, no consideration of what range they're at, no all these other factors that come into shooting people and adding to the sum of the skill gap in some of these games that have spread. They just want to get rid of all that and then shit in your face and tell you that the game is more skilled now. It's just, it's so fucking annoying. It's disgusting. These people are disgusting, lazy, shit players. And these people are responsible for why all these fucking games suck ass now. Because these dumbass developers who are the same casual morons as these guys, you know, where do you think we get these devs from, guys? They're not manufactured in a factory somewhere. They come from the player base. And the player base is full of shitters. That's why all of your devs are shitters. And this is why you keep getting all these fucking stupid mechanics in all these video games, because the games are made by shitters, for shitters. Okay, anyway, back to spread. Now, not all spread is created equal, right? There are situations where some spread is bad. Now, even I would say that. Now, the difference here is I understand the nuances of spread, right? And if you're talking to some Joe Schmo retard on Reddit, on the PlanetSide Reddit, who has no fucking clue what he's talking about, he doesn't play any other games ever. He's never been on SimThick. He's never fucking looked into any of this shit whatsoever. He has no clue, right? He'll enter into a discussion with me, and then I'll break out there's certain types of spread that are bad, like high base, high spread increase per shot, stuff like that. That's generally more bad than, you know, you have maybe you have a high base, low sips. Something like that, that could be acceptable, and then they're just like, no, all spread's bad. And you just can't have a conversation with this person because there's absolutely no nuance whatsoever, and you're arguing with someone who has no fucking clue what they're talking about. So anyway, back to the different spread types. Like I said, some spread is bad, and I gave the example there. Like any game that has like really high base spread on guns, those guns generally feel worse to use, especially if you have high base spread and high spread increase per shot. Now, base spread is just the base value of dispersion that you're going to have on the gun, and your sips or spread increase per shot is going to be how much additional spread you incur per bullet that comes out of your gun without releasing the trigger. And some games handle the way spread dissipates a little differently. Like there's been different Battlefield titles where depending on how long your burst is will determine how long it takes for your spread to reset. Or you have games like PlanetSide where you have literally 1 millisecond spread reset. So if you're mag dumping 30 fucking rounds into it and you let go of the trigger for 1 millisecond and you stop firing, Your spread's reset. You don't have to wait a given amount of time to start again. But then you have spread that's good, At games that have some sort of like low base spread, low spread increase per shot, which is, in my opinion, that's PlanetSide has pretty good. If you play any other FPS games, which I know a lot of PlanetSide dipshits do not, and even if they do, they're so mechanically bankrupt and awful that they don't even bother to try to learn. PlanetSide 2 has one of the most forgiving spread models. Like, we're talking almost like Battlefield 3 heavy barrel spread levels. Like, it's actually pathetically trivial to control spread in PlanetSide 2. Now, the caveat on that is you have to not be a fucking moron, okay? You have to be in the moment, present, understand the game you're playing, understand the mechanics of the weapon that you're using. You need to think about, okay, what range am I at? Where's the guy that I'm going to try to shoot at? Okay, he's here. I know that based on the spread values and how it feels to shoot the weapon, I know that I can probably get away comfortably with this amount of shots on this guy. And if I have my mouse on him and I'm controlling my first shot impetus and my recoil impetus, then I should land, I should be comfortable landing this many shots. Now, I may not expect to kill him, but yeah, all that shit that I just went through, completely non-existent for 99% of the players in the game. They see a guy, and you'll notice this too if you're playing the game, and say you're just some stupid fucking dummy distance away from somebody, and it's some retard with a gauss saw or something, and you're like, if it was me, I probably wouldn't even shoot at the guy, but these fucking shitters, they shoot at you from fucking every range, and you can hear, like when people are shooting at me, how like sometimes I determine whether I'm going to take a fight with someone or not is I listen to the way they shoot their gun. And if they shoot their gun in a brain dead retarded way, aka they, if it's some TR heavy with a MSWR, and I hear him shoot 40 rounds out of his MSW, or it's some guy with a Carve or any LMG where they're shooting more than like 20, 30 shots at once, then that's going to change how I take the fight with that person, because a fight that I might avoid, against a better player who I know shoots better, I'll just straight up take with that guy because I know he doesn't know how to use the guns. So that's another thing that you get into with these fucking morons that used to talk about how there's some form of suppression in PlanetSide 2. Yeah, you're talking about the people who load up their 100 to 200 round extended LMGs for XD fucking point holds, and they sit there and they hold their mouse one. You know what you do to those people? Those people are a free kill every time you come around the corner, okay? Because anyone that's fucking stupid enough, barring like maybe one or two weapons in the game, anyone that's dumb enough to sit there and bloom their weapon that fucking hard, you know what happens when you walk right in front of them? Is their fucking bullets are going all around you, right? So you just kill them and then laugh at them for being stupid and not understanding the game they're playing, and then you move on with your fucking day. Because they're so dumb that they think if they just say something, and this kind of gets into something else I want to talk about. If they just say something is the way that it is, they think that the game engine and the mechanics will morph and make that so. So when a shitter or some casual brain dead retard who pretends to be like, I don't know, wants the game to be Arma in space, and you see a lot of this shit with these fucking stupid-ass morons that are in these milsim outfits and stuff. They have, like, their platoon trainings, and they're all, like, terrible, low mechanical ability, just casual shitters, and they talk about tactics and all this stuff, and they talk about, suppressing fire and all this shit, which doesn't really exist in this game for a few reasons. Number one, you don't have the lethality. Your bullets don't do that much damage. The time to kill is pretty much too goddamn long for you to have any kind of real suppression. Now, what they get this from is a feature that was in Battlefield games and it's actually kind of spreading into, I think even Vanguard has some form of this bullshit now. But it's in a sense, the way it is in the game is if someone is bad, well, this is really how it turns out. If there's some shitty player shooting mag dumping at you and he misses like his first 4 or 5 shots, depending on the Battlefield game, like it actually becomes really difficult to fucking fire back because your cone of fire and your spread is actually affected by that guy's inability to fucking accurately land shots on you. It's one of the most frustrating gameplay mechanics that I've ever experienced in a first person shooter game. Uh, it's extremely handicapping, because when I'm shooting at someone, chances are pretty good I'm hitting most of my shots. So someone who I'm hitting most of my shots on is not getting suppressed as hard, so they're able to shoot back. But when someone awful, like objectively terrible, misses like their first 10 bullets on me, I'm fighting like 3 other guys in front of me and he happens to be in Narnia, completely lost. He starts mag dumping me and has no clue what the fuck to do. Then like I'm kind of getting like physically handicapped and not allowed to play the game and fight this guy back because of this mechanic. But yeah, for whatever reasons, there's a lot of awful, ignorant, misinformed PlanetSide players who think this is a real thing in PlanetSide 2, which it isn't. Number one, okay, so here's how it works. Suppression only is a thing if your bullets have any real lethality. Like if you're playing in a game that has, let's take Siege for example. In Siege, you can die with 1 bullet to the head from any weapon through any surface at any range, basically. So when someone's shooting at you in Siege, you could just fucking die instantly, basically, at any range, through any surface, from any gun. That makes you think about what the fuck you're doing. That is lethality, my friends. PlanetSide 2, if some retard is shooting at me with a carve with a 100-round magazine and mag dumping at me, I don't really fear him shooting at a spot down a hallway, because the amount of bullets that he has to hit. Number one, I already know I'm 10 or more yards away from him, or meters. Sorry, I already know I'm 10 or more meters away from him, so I know he's got 1 tier drop already. He's down to 125 damage. And I know that he needs to land, like, Jesus Christ, like 8, 9, 10 plus bullets to kill me. So I don't fear this guy. I'm not afraid of it. And even the chances of him also, when he's that deep into a magazine just dumping, he has really no ability to chain any kind of headshots on me. None at all. He's not going to be able to do it. So for these weird people that think that suppression is a thing in PlanetSide, it doesn't exist. Stop pretending. You're literally just playing make-believe. And everyone that kind of understands how the gunplay works is looking at you like you're a fucking moron. So stop doing that. But anyway, Jesus, I went off on a tangent. Anyway, not all spread is created equal. Some is bad and some is good. Now, for the people that argue that the amount of spread, which I keep reading, like every other day, I read a thread from someone who has no clue about the game that, the spread in PlanetSide is excessive. And it's unlike any other game. Like, we get back to always, like, I don't know. First of all, you guys don't play any other FPS games. You don't. You don't know what you're talking about. And if you play another FPS game, God forbid, you're playing like some weird, like, I don't know, you're remembering Call of Duty from fucking 10 years ago or whatever. Like, granted, the Call of Duty, it's actually funny that Call of Duty gets brought up because people were complaining about Vanguard introduced some form of spread. And Call of Duty players are completely brain dead fucking mongoloids who... I think where a lot of this comes from is if you can't, because in Call of Duty, like, basically how the gunplay has worked for like the last 10 plus fucking years is there might be some sort of dispersion or spread, but it's so limited. It's almost non-existent. So every gun in those fucking games is a laser beam. Some of the time to kills for the games over the past few years, it's fluctuated, but Vanguard is back to being like, holy fuck, like 100 ms time to death. Like that game is. And you know what's funny? I'm talking about like normal core. I'm not even talking about hardcore. Can you imagine? Can you believe that there are human beings, like actual fucking human beings, who willfully load up Call of Duty Vanguard hardcore? I, I don't understand. Like, why the fuck? How could anyone subject themselves to that? That is so weird. But anyway, uh, yeah, this whining about spread, man, is just. I'm so tired of it. I'm so fucking tired of it. Like, and the reason they complain about it, and actually the impetus for this recording or whatever is I read a thread like 20 minutes ago, and it's a guy complaining about excessive spread and matchmaking in the game. And it's it's just some guy who's barely played the game. He doesn't understand anything. He doesn't want to understand anything. He doesn't try to learn. He mentions in he mentions in the post that, I'm new and I understand that blah blah blah, but in the other side of his mouth he's saying that it's something different. Like, you can't have both, man. Like, you can't come in and say, I understand this is why I'm getting shit on, but also I want this change so I don't get shit on. Like, all the people that came up and the guys that were playing in 2012, 2013, and 2014 and getting good in those time periods, like, we had so much less information. Like, and all these fucking gamers today, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I say this, and I've said this in my channel update video, like, go watch some of these people play the game. And there's just, they can be the nicest or that fucking terrible, fake, nice bullshit that I hate. These fucking fake-ass people, they're playing the game, they're having fun, and you can watch them for like 3 hours do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again with their guns. And you can even, how PlanetSide streams are. If anybody's new at the game, you have 10 fucking people in there that are like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to, all this bullshit. And you have these people, you have these fucking casual shitters that, sort of like semi-understand like what's going on, but they're still massively ignorant. They're not mechanically talented or anything. They don't really care about the game, but they see what other people say, and they come in and they're like, just burst the weapons, bro. And that is... I see this shit all the time. Burst the weapons. You just gotta burst. And that doesn't fucking really mean anything to these people. It doesn't mean anything. Like Iridar, for Christ's sakes. Iridar's setup burst was, 9 to 15 shots sometimes? Yeah, have fun trying to be accurate on a head, firing 9 to 15 shots at someone at whatever fucking dumbass range you're trying to do it at. Like, you can't just tell these people, like, and maybe that's a fault of the game. Maybe at some levels these people are right to a point, because the game, that you could say that the game does a bad job of explaining, the mechanic, the spread mechanic. But the game is not in a fucking vacuum, okay? There are tons of games out there that have spread in it. This game in particular has been out since 2012. How many fucking guides have there been explaining how the gunplay works in this game? How many threads have been made talking about the gunplay? How many posts have been made talking about the gunplay? How many fucking videos are there of people demonstrating the gunplay and how it works and how you're supposed to shoot? And on and on and on and on. It's like this game in and of itself, like on your computer, does not exist in a vacuum. There's 9 fucking years of backlog information. So if you're a new player today, now, in PlanetSide 2, you have absolutely no fucking excuses because you're allowed to know everything. You have all the knowledge base. You have the tip base from all of the skilled players that have played and existed throughout the game who have contributed. You have all of that. You have all of the mechanical stuff from all of those same players, and it's all the same shit and the guides that have been done over and over again. You need to lower your fucking graphics, turn your shadows off, get a real mouse sensitivity, get a fucking higher refresh rate monitor, stop trying to play on a fucking laptop. It's the same shit that we've been telling people for 9 fucking years. There's a heavy, heavy, heavy backlog of this shit. So if you're a new player today, this year, for Christ, I'll cut you the benefit of the doubt. This year, or in the next 6 to 8 months, or the next year, the mechanics of the game, the core mechanics of the shooting have not changed almost the entire time. So don't go into that. I think that's part of the mistake people make is they go into, a YouTube hunt for shit and they see videos from like 2014 and think it's not relevant because it's old. That's really not necessarily the case. The gunplay has barely fucking changed at all. Some minor things here and there have changed, but how the gunplay works has not changed at all. So, what's your excuse? Well, obviously the excuse is, for whatever reason, this generation of gamer that's coming up now and trying to, get good and be on the scene and everything. And it's not all of them. I'll preface this by saying that it's not all of them. I've met some nice 18, 19-year-old Zoomers who have that fire, who have the drive to improve. But the vast fucking disgusting majority of them are the laziest pieces of shit you will ever... You know it. You see that shit too. Because what's the first thing that they see in your fucking chat? What's the best this? What's the best that? How do blah, blah, blah. What's the easiest solution to this? What aim trainer? Blah, blah, blah. Like, shut up. Like, you guys that are coming to this game, that are new to this game, you've got to accept you're going to get your fucking shit pushed in, especially if you're not an FPS player. Because, boy, there are some FPS players that are still playing this game. Even the shitty 2KD heavies that are fucking... Even those guys have some semblance of understanding what's going on, and they're going to push your shit in. Because, guys, I've watched you play the game. I've seen your little shitty clips and your little trash Twitch channels and everything where you have your shitty gameplay on. I've seen that stuff, and you're real fucking bad. And unless you're going to have a come to Jesus moment and listen to the people that are telling you how to improve, you're going to stay bad. And if you look at the population and the player base of that game, there's a lot of motherfuckers that stay terrible or extremely average the entire time they play the game. And you know what? That's their prerogative. They can choose to do that. Okay? But if you choose that, you don't also get to say that, oh, the spread model is excessive. That's not how it works, okay? The spread model is not excessive, okay? I shoot 40% accuracy and fucking 40 to 50 to 60% headshot rate, okay? If this game has excessive spread, then I'd love to see what my accuracy and stuff would be in a game that has no spread. I would love it. You literally can't say that the guns are uncontrollable when you have guys like me and the people that I've played with and the people that are still playing that shoot the numbers that we do. You can't say that. You look at that and be like, okay, well, how are those players so accurate, but I'm so bad? And you guys don't want to come to the conclusion that they're just better. They understand the game better. They shoot better than me because they're doing something different from me that I'm not doing, and I refuse to do, and I just instead make Reddit posts about the excessive spread model. The spread model in PlanetSide 2 is a joke. Guys, let me tell you something. In an FPS game, if you can shoot 5 consecutive fucking bullets on the same part of the hitbox of a character that is also the smallest hitbox on the character which I have made an entire career out of in that game. I've killed almost 500,000 people doing this, landing 5 consecutive shots on heads. If you think that the spread is excessive, and in that type of game where I can also do the thing that I just said I can do consistently over and over and over and repeatable, you have to face the idea or the fact here that maybe you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay? Any game that lets you shoot 5 consecutive shots into a head hitbox from an automatic rifle has pretty goddamn casual gunplay. You guys, I don't know. You gotta face facts here, man. There's not a lot of games that have casual enough gunplay where you can shoot somebody in the head 5 fucking times consecutively. Again, it's probably more with some guns, like ARs and carbines. Man, if you are inaccurate with ARs and carbines, you really need a fucking come to Jesus moment. There is something really wrong with what you're doing. If you struggle in any way with the vast majority of ARs and carbines, if you're struggling with spread and recoil and being inaccurate with those weapons, especially, the problem is you. It's not the guns. It's not the spread model. It's you. The guns in this game, man, are piss easy to use. They're brain dead fucking easy. And maybe the problem is you've never had someone sit down and explain to you, like, maybe you need like a coaching session or something. But it's brain dead simple. And to go and be talking all this shit all the time and making these posts about, and part of that post was maybe they should, new players would stay more if the gunplay was easier. Part of the reason why people stick around and play certain games is because that game has a skill gap. And they find it rewarding. And I know that the idea for casuals is to destroy... If any game has a skill gap whatsoever, and this gets back to, removing spread, how everybody just wants every gun to be... They want every FPS game to just be point and click adventure game, so they can feel good about themselves. If there's any skill gap that exists in a game, it has to be removed in order for the casual to stick around. And in my opinion, go fuck yourself. I don't care if the game is going to stay the current way that it is with the populations the way it is, and they left the gunplay alone. That's fine. It could last forever that way. But what you're doing is, and you guys have seen over time, the reason games are so shitty now is because these people are getting their way. As I mentioned in the inset of the video, or the beginning of the video, is that these developers that are developing games now are the same shitters who can't be asked to learn. And this is not in every case, but in the majority of it, the developers now for the games are the same shitters who couldn't be asked to learn the games, and they're in charge now, and they're basically destroying all their video games to appease the lowest common denominator. And when you spend all your time appeasing the lowest common denominator, you usually get a pretty shit game that even casuals don't want to play. Man, I'm tired of these people who walk into this game, refuse to learn the game, and then beg the developer to change core functional aspects of the game. I'm just tired of it. If you're having problems with spread in PlanetSide 2, it is 100% a you problem. It's because you are mechanically deficient in some way. Period. It's just, I mean, I know I can sit here and say that because I've used the spread model and I've been very successful in it, shooting the guns in that game for a really long time now, and I have a lot of practice doing it. So to me, it's the most trivial thing ever. But you know what? It wasn't always. It wasn't always, you know, and I was extremely average to below average very, very early in the game. Uh, I played FPS games very casually before this game, uh, but I took the time to actually try and get better. You know, I didn't just give up on the outset and quit. And that's what a lot of you guys, that's a big fucking problem a lot of you guys have, is you quit right away. You quit right away, and then you look at the guys that have long-term sustained success, and you want that for yourself, but you don't want to put in the work. You don't want to put in the playtime, or maybe you can't. Maybe you're limited to how much you can play and all that. But you shouldn't have the same expectation to be that person. If you don't have the time or you're not willing to put in the time that that person puts in, you shouldn't expect the same results. You just shouldn't. And for people that are new to PlanetSide and are coming into the game and seeing like montages of people and stuff, which who the fuck's making PlanetSide montages anyway at the current time? Yeah, you're not going to be that overnight. And I'm sorry, but you've been spoiled and lied to by games that allow you to be relevant immediately as soon as you start playing the game. You've been lied to, and it's unfortunate. And the games that let you do that have immediate impact as soon as you start playing the game. Being a player who probably hasn't even played very much of the genre, those games are pretty much dog shit, and they're a big problem with the stuff that's going on today in most of our games. But yeah, I mean, I'm real tired of all these threads about spread, basically. If you struggle with spread, I'll say it again, it's a you problem, and specifically in this game, there are games that have real bad spread in situations, but PlanetSide is not one of them. And if you think that's the case, you're probably bad. I mean, that's all there is to it. And you can argue with me in the comments, but you know, the one thing, or there might be two things that I ask for: link me your character and show me your gameplay. And if you can't confidently link me your character and show me your gameplay, so I can see exactly how you play the game, I mean, I don't know what else to say to you, man. Stop talking about spread. Stop it. Especially if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.